Hello there! I'm back again. Oh, with exciting news. We're having another mail call. I know you guys love mail calls. And it also goes into our lovely series on the Wizkids minis. So, I got a nice assortment of the latest wave that came out, and we'll get right into it. This is the Human Ranger, and I'm just grabbing these as I see them. The Human Ranger from NOLZUR'S, Marvelous, and it is a female. They never put the gender on there, but alright, next up is the Death Dog. The Death Dog is very exciting. See how it's got extra heads, and there's that. That's the Death Dog. Pretty neat. This is the Human Wizard. It is a big improvement on the other Human Wizards that have come out. It's not an old geezer, for one. The other wizards were fine for NPCs or maybe a big bad boss, something like that. Alright, this is the Arcanoloth and Ultraloth. And if you guys don't know anything about the Yugoloth, they're actually pretty cool, play a pretty big role in the Blood War. And if you remember my video on Invisible Minis, I actually have another Ultraloth, and I might just paint them together in a tutorial. Let me know in the comments if that sounds fun. Alright, this is a Were-Rat and a Were-Tiger. Where, oh where art thou? Anyway, very fun, very exciting. And you can never have too many Were-Rat minis. They're fine villains for urban settings. And I find myself using them pretty much in every campaign I've done, if at least as a random encounter. Alright, now we're getting into our Fae. These are actually pretty cool little sculpts. This is the Satyr and the Dryad. And, you know, Satyr minis are actually kind of hard to come by, believe it or not. You wouldn't think they would be, but they actually are. Yeah, they're not commonly found minis. So that's cool. Now, this one came like this. So this is the first time I've seen it this bad on these clamshells, where the mini's gotten this far out of its original position. So that's pretty neat. This is a green slotty, or slod, singular. Pretty cool mini. I like the translucent fireball. I wish I could show you more, but, well, obviously there's a problem here. Here's his brother, the blue slotty. Blue slotty. And these are good size minis. These, now, if you were looking on the Reaper line, it would be the Chaos Toads, right? Good heft to that. They also have a Frog Demon, but that's a totally different discussion. Alright. This is the Winter Wolf. And this thing is nice and chunky. Big old husky wolf. And I bet it paints up really nice. Actually, I think that this is definitely doable. Your usual issues you'll have with your NOLZUR'S, you're going to have some gaps to fill. I personally soak them in alcohol and kind of rub the Vallejo primer off. Usually on the smaller models, on like this big guy here, it's probably fine. But like on the smaller models, it'll obscure details pretty heavily, and it's just not a pretty picture. Ooh, a Human Male Ranger from NOLZUR'S, so official D&D Human Male Ranger. Now the female had goggles on, and I don't know what that's about. You know, it's your standard, generic adventurer model. Now this one's interesting. We gotta get moving though. The Mastiff and Shadow Mastiff, right? The Shadow Mastiff, which by the way, there's one of these in Dungeon Command, as I recall. Yeah, it's a different sculpt, but Shadow Mastiff, and a regular, just a mundane War Dog Mastiff. If I remember right, I saw scars on this thing, so like somebody had stabbed at it, the dog. Maybe that's where I saw it. Anyways, they're cool. You never have enough cool little animal sculpts. I've always said that. Now this one's also pretty interesting. So this is a green dragon wormling. I actually have the Reaper wormlings, and they're much, much smaller. But that's good, because that's going to give you more age categories, because they're more like actual hatchlings. This one's more like a, youngling dragon. Juvenile. Well, smaller than a juvenile, but something in between. So I would say having both is a good thing, because this is a fair bit bigger. It's a whole, probably age category bigger than the Reaper wormlings. Anyway, but they're cool. And then you have your elf here. This elf is afflicted, so it's been brainwashed, controlled magically by the green dragon, which is, that's their thing. That's what they do. That's why they're so dangerous. They're as far as the evil dragons go, they're the weakest, but in their own way, they're actually not. I got 3 packs of these shadows. I've been waiting for shadows for a long time, and this one's cool because it looks like you could almost take a character and put it in there, couldn't you? Almost, maybe like a halfling. Nice little sculpt and easy to paint. Easy to paint. This is a no-brainer paint job. We might just do a video of it. Just to show you how easy it is. Next up, and again in no particular order on these, we've got the Gold Dragon Wormling and their treasure pile. And as you know, you can never have enough treasure, right? Seam lines, gaps to fill, but what are you gonna do? Got the cool translucent effects. We like those. There's the treasure hoard. So yeah, nice solid piece. Now there is not a Reaper Gold Dragon equivalent. Only the evil dragons. But on the other hand, if your party's fighting gold dragons, you're probably playing something besides D&D. I mean, I could be wrong. Evil campaigns can work. The problem is your characters are all going to end up, they have to betray and kill each other. Because that's just how that works. Unless they're all lawful evil. You could run a lawful evil campaign, as long as there was a clear pecking order. And neutral evil, as long as you kept it within the best interests of the party to not kill each other. But, I mean, there's just going to be so much backstabbing and treachery. It's going to get nasty with the players. Now, if you have true role players, anything can be played. People who truly don't take it personally when their character gets killed because it's part of the story. But those are rare players indeed. Alright, anyway, Raptors. I got Bones 4. I got a bunch of dinosaurs. And I've got all the NOLZUR'S dinosaurs. So I think I'm pretty well set on dinosaurs. But these are pretty cool little sculpts. I like them. I like the Raptors. Next up, Halfling Rogue. And this is your official NOLZUR'S Halfling Rogue, which I thought they had one already. But this is, I guess, a second take on it. Not everybody's Halfling. Halfling Rogue is a very common class and race combination. So, yeah, variants need to exist because you could have 2 in the same party. Or back-to-back campaigns. Alright, this is the Grell and the Basilisk. To be fair, I like the Grell. I could live without the Basilisk. It is tiny. It is not menacing. It's whatever. I mean, but even so, the Grell's worth the price of admission. So I'm not going to complain too much about the Basilisk. Next up, I bought 3 of these. They're the Beholder zombies, but you could paint these like they weren't zombies. Yeah, I know. What a shocker, right? You could literally paint these up like living beholders. And now you have 2 variants on living beholders, and then you can paint one up as a zombie. So, you have the best of both worlds. Hopefully you guys got more than one of these when you ordered them. There's number 2. There's number 3. Paint them up any way you like. It's going to give you more options on your beholders. Not that you need a lot of beholders in this world, because beholders are actually quite nasty. And you shouldn't be seeing too many of them. If you're seeing a lot of beholders, you're doing it wrong. Alright, next up we have the Dragonborn Paladin with a head variant that I think's cool. That's what I'm seeing, right? They're actually using their breath weapon. That's pretty neat. You could have your Dragonborn switch out heads and boom, firing off that breath weapon. Pretty cool. Next up is the Doppelganger. The Doppelganger. I don't know for the life of me why on earth you would want a Doppelganger miniature. When you see a Doppelganger, if they look like this, they're dead. It's just like an invisible miniature. Why? If anything, it's just going to destroy the illusion, the joy of playing this NPC and using it. I guess if you caught them in their native habitat, or there's some sort of militant doppelganger group that's all about, showing their true form because they take pride in it. I mean, you could go with a Nazi doppelganger cult, I guess, but how often is that going to be useful? Here's the Dwarven Fighter. It's a fighter. It's a dwarf. Pretty basic stuff here. It's got some fine details. It's a nice mini. Dwarves aren't bad on this line, I don't think. I think they're pretty good little dwarves. You could do much worse. They got a nice selection. Alright, this is your Elven Sorcerer. Elven Sorcerer. Lots of translucent effects on this one. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. This would be a really cool PC mini, I think. There's a lot of potential here for some really cool effects, really cool paint jobs. Then what more can you want from a PC mini? Now this one, let me see what we got. The Human Monk. She is a petite thing. Very small. Very petite. Very tiny woman. Diminutive, I would almost say. Which is fine. If you want a petite woman crunched over here, let's, just for comparison, I'm going to grab that Elven Sorcerer. Just so you understand how small she is. And I get that the poses make her look shorter, but she's not very big. And then if we compare that again to the dwarf, you see where I'm going with this? She's not much taller than that dwarf. So she's a tiny, tiny gal, which is fine. There are short women. So if you have a really short female and a male, it's one of each? Or they're the same character? I can't tell. Anyway, really small, but cool. The poses are very dynamic, very energetic. There's a lot of potential there. Maybe it was a little bigger. Next up is a Mummy Lord and a Lich. And this Lich appears to be a little better than the other one they came out with, which had two in the pack. But one of them looked like a warrior lich or something. Skeletal warrior. Or a death knight, maybe. Less of a lich. But then again, maybe it thinks itself a warrior god. I don't know. But, there are ways you could use it. The Mummy Lord looks cool. Here's what they envision them looking like with their renders. We like renders. Renders are cool. This is the Pathfinder Ogre. Very cartoony. Here's a Reaper Ogre. Scale's nice though. Cool little model. That's what they want them to look like. Very lovely. This is the Furbolg. They finally came out with an official Furbolg. I know, it took them a while. There you go. That's your Furbolg Druid. Very nice. A human Druid from NOLZUR'S with antlers. Female. So that could definitely be cool if you're into human female druids. This one is fine. It's a stone golem. I don't know what to think of it. It's not bad. It's not especially amazing either, but at least you got a stone golem. So, and it's not too much I believe it was the same price as any of the other packs, so it's not bad. Not a bad little model for $3.99 or whatever. Human Wizard, female. Honestly, now this is where Deep Cuts, I think, actually outdoes NOLZUR'S, which is atypical, I'll be honest with you. Because I like the female wizard from the first wave. The human female wizard from the first wave, Deep Cuts, is really good model. Once you clean off the mold lines and everything. Dwarf Cleric. Well, that is a BFH, if I ever saw one. Look at that hammer compared to that dwarf. There's no way he could wield that. By the way, I'm just going to throw that out there. But I get it. You're doing it for effect. It's not meant to be realistic. But yeah, that's absurdly huge. And maybe he's compensating. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. But other than that, fine models. A human male sorcerer. And you know it's Deep Cuts because it says male. NOLZUR'S doesn't give you a gender. This is actually pretty cool. I like it. So again, Deep Cuts comes through for us. Way to go, Pathfinder. So we have the Harpy and the Arakakra. I like the Harpy. Reaper has a pretty good Harpy too, if you're into Harpies. Nice. Yeah, those are fine. It might get a couple more sets of those because you can always use more Harpies. And this could be a PC and his friends, paint them up. Well, we've already seen this one. We already know what's up there. This is interesting. A crocodile in water. So this is translucent on the bottom with the crocodile coming out like it's striking. Here's what they envision. So there you go. So a live action kung fu grip. Not really. Crocodile. Well, that's a neat reimagining though of the crocodile mini. Shadows, more shadows. I bought 3 sets of these, so that should be it on them. Ooh. This is one that you might consider more than one of. The white and the ghast. These are mainstays of your undead, especially if you like sentience and you're undead. Ghouls and ghast are kind of dumb, but this is where it's at, really. Whites could actually be very dangerous if your DM gets creative. They could really be a menace to the whole world as they propagate themselves. The human barbarian with a really cool translucent, I'm going to say they're calling their ancestors or something. That's fine. Like all of these minis from Wizkids, the scaling on the PCs is smaller than, your normal 28 heroic. This is a Etten, but on the monsters, it's not as bad. Monsters are fine usually. This Etten is it's fine. It could be a little bigger, like taller or wide, but it's fine. It's not horrible. Here it is compared to an ogre. Good big old giant kin with 2 heads. Lovely miniature. How can you go wrong? Guys, I bought too many miniatures. Here's a Dragonborn fighter from NOLZUR'S. They have a lot of Dragonborn fighters, it seems like. Maybe this is the female version, although it doesn't look like a female. And I'll never know because it's NOLZUR'S and they don't tell us that. I don't know. Could be that's what's going on here. That's the female Dragonborn fighter. We'll never know. Hobgoblin. These are done in the way the Pathfinder does their goblins. I don't know how to feel about this because it's just so cartoony. But I mean, the miniatures themselves are pretty cool. Little archer pose there. They're a little on the scrawny side to be hobgoblins, in my opinion. Hobgoblins should be smaller than bugbears, but human size. if not bulkier. Maybe maybe not as big as orcs, but definitely husky humans, or well-built humans. They should be bigger than this. These look like they're just too delicate looking for me, but you might love them. The sculpts are fine. The sculpts are fine. It's just you know, it's Pathfinder. They do stuff different. Just not what I'm used to. All right, male elf magus looks pretty cool. It's deep cut, so it must be some class they have. Looks like a cool little mini. Kind of steampunky, isn't it? Now we get into the big ones, guys. But first, one last small one. The female human oracle. And it's just another female wizard looking thing. I guess you could use this one as a monk or a cleric, but nothing wrong with these models. These are fine models. Fine models. I don't know what an oracle is, but you could make it whatever you want to be. Alright, here we go, guys. Pillars and banners. This set, it was like 20 something bucks. But you're getting pillars and banners and stuff, you know, accoutrements for your dungeon needs. Here's what they envision. I don't know. There's some weight to this, so there's definitely stuff in there, but I don't know if you could do better buying that stuff individually. You know, because I know they sell pillars. I would have to really look at it, because you get 4 pillars in this and some debris and some banners. So unless these are, so I'll have to open it to really tell you. But you know, it's cool. This is the young red dragon. It's not that young. I'm gonna prove it to you. It's not that young, because I just happen to have right here a copy of the Wrath of a Shardalon. If that's a young dragon, how young's a Shardalon? If this thing here is a young red dragon, how old's he? If I took this dragon out of the box, it would be a fair bit bigger than a Shardalon. Could argue they're in the same age category. Maybe he's just kind of a runt. My point is, there's nothing young about these dragons that they're calling young dragons, and I don't know if I want to see the the next age category, you know, if that's young. It's a really cool sculpt. I like it. It's better than this old Hasbro sculpt. I mean, both have their charms. That Hasbro sculpt's pretty much indestructible. This one might be a lot more intelligent. This is definitely a much sharper model than that. That's not to say that that model's bad. This is what they envision it looking like. Alright, next up we have a young gold dragon. Pretty cool. I like this model. It's, again, not a young one. It's got some pretty good details on it. Seam line there that's going to need to be filled in. For what it costs, I think it was like 11 something. You can't do better than that, guys. I don't think. Behir. The Behir is the dragon's worst enemy, right? Younger dragons, not so much the older ones. They swat them off like flies, but this is the Behir. It's fine. It's a cool model. There is a Reaper Behir. It's a fair bit smaller than this one. So if you're looking for a smaller one, just to change it up. Now this one's really cool. The young silver dragon. If you look at this, it's a pretty big freaking dragon. I'm about to grab the deep cut silver dragon and show you how much scale creep we already have in this line. So I painted up this, this is like something you get at a head shop, kind of, you know, one of those old pewter deals. I painted up like a silver dragon. This is the deep cut silver dragon. This thing could eat this thing, you know. So, but it does give you another age category, so that's cool. I'm not mad about it. Although, obviously, they couldn't use the D&D look of the silver dragon with the mohawk kind of frills because, you know, it's patented. But you could paint this as a convincing gym dragon. There's actually, you could do a topaz or an amethyst with this model, and it would look fine. It would be very passable. They kind of look similar. For like 3 weeks, we were waiting on this bad boy, a Hydra. And look, you got all these heads. So when you cut a head off, you can pull it off, and then the heads are doubling. See that? Double heads. Double heads. Yeah. So the heads are doubling, and this is, it's not as big as I thought it'd be, to be fair. But it is a good size model. Big box, but a lot of this box is air and heads. And if you look at the body, compared to like one of these dragons, right? See that? It's really not that impressive. See that seam line there where they butted it together? That's going to be fun to have to fill. But anyway, it's a cool model. I'm kind of mad at it because it made me wait for the rest of the models. This one is kind of disappointing. The Baylor. And I'm going to show you why. Here is the old Hasbro Baylor. Now you remember those dragons when I showed you the Achardalon mini? It was just kind of a runty looking version of the young red dragon. In this case we have the opposite. The Baylor is actually smaller. It's gotten smaller. Less menacing in appearance. I think this thing's a lot scarier than this. I am not blown away by this model, but Reaper had a version 2. That's pretty impressive, right? Now, is bigger always better? No. This costs $20 even. This costs 12, so you can definitely make an argument there. If you own the Legend of Drizzt board game, then you don't need this many. Which, you know, these two actually look like they could hang out together. But I'm going to show you again why these two can't. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on how. And how many Baylor demons do you need? Because if you're fighting Baylor demons all the time, you're not doing it right. Unless you're like doing epic level stuff, which, you know, that's cool if you are. Now this is the big one. This costs the same amount as that Hydra, but it is. Here, let me clear some stuff out of the way to give you an idea of how big this freaking thing is. Here's our Baylor. This is our skeletal dragon, the gargantuan skeletal dragon. This is how they envision it being painted. And what's cool about this box is if you wanted paper cutouts for skeletal dragons, you have 1, 2, and 3. 3 of them. 3. So you get 4 skeletal dragons if you're willing to use paper cutouts for one price, which is about $23. And there it is, folks. We'll compare that to a regular size sort of person to give you kind of a scale idea here. The head is the size of a person. That's it. We've gone through all of them. I want you to have an amazing, amazing day. I want you to think of all the happy things, and I want all the best things to happen to you because you are watching my video, and well, it's just good to wish for the best for human beings in general. I hope you find all the miniatures of your dreams, and have an amazing day.